Now, your 41 NBC AccuWeather forecast, presented by Volume Chevrolet.
We got an interesting weather pattern going on here, and that there's a cold front coming through, and then there's a hurricane to the south, and things looking good for us here in Georgia. These all do tie into each other. In fact, this cold front and this hurricane really playing a part with each other. In fact, this cold front is going to be a determining factor on where the hurricane ends up making landfall, whether it turns east into the Florida Peninsula or whether it turns north towards the Florida Panhandle. Anyways, highs for today, we'll revisit that in a little bit. 87 for Macon and Roberta, up to 89 in Dublin and Eastman. Hot spots Abbeville and McRae at 90 degrees. Expecting a breezy afternoon from the northwest. Gusts could get upwards of 20 miles per hour. Sustained speeds hovering in the 6 to 13 mile per hour range. It'll feel pretty good out there. Help it take the edge off a bit, considering that's a dry and cool air mass being brought in by that wind. It will lead to cool conditions out the door tomorrow morning. As you can see, gusts still upwards of 15 miles per hour out the door tomorrow. And lows are going to be in the low to mid 50s all around middle Georgia. So you may want a light jacket to begin the day. Tomorrow in the afternoon, wind still coming in from the north. Good amount of sun early. We'll see some cloud cover make its way in during the evening. It will be notably cooler out tomorrow. Highs are in the low 80s versus the upper 80s like today. But the lows will be a little bit warmer. Why? Well, you see all this wind starting to crank up, and you see the cloud cover starting to crank up heading into Wednesday morning. That is all tied to Hurricane Ian. Here are those lows for tonight. 54 in Macon as well as Eastman, 53 in Perry, 57 in McRae. That's going to be our warm spot. But again, with wind from the north, you're probably going to want to make sure you have a light sweater out the door. So here's Ian. It is currently a Category 1 hurricane with 80 mile per hour sustained winds continuing to intensify. Likely to be a Category 3 before it makes landfall in Cuba. That's not good. But let's take a closer look at what we've got going on here in the U.S. You see how thin the cone is right here, and then all of a sudden it gets really, really wide as it approaches right to that bend with the Panhandle versus the Peninsula. That's where the cold front comes in. If the cold front stalls out, like we've seen several times over the summer somewhere here in southeast Georgia, that storm's going to get turned into Tampa and end up heading into the Atlantic. But if it doesn't and that thing moves out, we are going to see this storm move up to the north like you see here. Now, it's not projected to be very strong with this hurricane landfall from the National Hurricane Center. Just Category 1 barely and going into a tropical storm. But you see how slow moving this is. 8 a.m. Friday morning to 8 a.m. Saturday morning. That's a lot of rain. We're expecting 2 to 4 inches over the weekend. In 10 seconds, we'll check out your 7-day forecast.
At Volume Chevrolet, get oil changes for life, plus a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Visit Volume Chevrolet, I-75 exit 187 in Forsyth. That's VolumeChevrolet.com.
Your 41 NBC AccuWeather 7-day forecast is brought to you by Volume Chevrolet. So looking good for today and then into tomorrow. Obviously Wednesday, cloudy and breezy, but we're not really expecting the rain to move in until Thursday evening, more than likely. In fact, you see I've gone down to 80% for our Friday. More than likely, we're expecting it to go the Panhandle route. However, should that cold front stall, that rain chance on Friday into Saturday will drop a decent amount.